Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of ZB's Horsepower Talk. As always, I'm ZB, Zack Brown. And as always, joining with me is former 410 Sprint Car crew chief and mechanic, my dad, Jeff Brown. Dad, a lot of stuff to recap this past weekend. Would have been a little bit more if Mother Nature would have worked with us in the Outlaws, but recapping Phoenix, recapping IndyCar and NHRA. So let's dive right into it. Getting into Phoenix, the Cup Series and the Xfinity. I'll be honest, especially the Cup Series, a little bit of a snooze fest.
Yeah, they still got a little bit of work to do with the downforce package. Either that or basically the Toyota cars just really had it figured out, because the Toyota cars were definitely the class of the field. The Chevy cars definitely struggled. Ford was kind of somewhere in the middle. But, here we are with, Ryan Blaney still just being super consistent. And so far all this year, I mean, I kind of had my skepticism about him being champion last year, like he really only got going towards the end of the year. But he has not slowed down. So, yeah, 100% deserved on that from last year.
Yeah, we touched on it, how having that entire team back and there's no replacements at all. Everybody's the exact same. So everybody's already on the same page. And in any sport, and like we've always touched on, that is a recipe for success. So it's hard to argue with what he's doing. He's knocking on the door for getting wins. The wins will happen, but he's been the class of the field right now. And yeah, like you said, the only Chevy that got in the top 10 was Ross Chastain. But big shout out to Noah Gragson finishing another top 10 finish. And the only race he didn't finish in the top 10 was Atlanta. But that was a crapshoot type race. So that's a big shocker right now going in through the season.
Yeah, I think he's probably the best Stewart Haas car right now. It seems that way anyway.
I would, yeah.
And the other ones that have actually been running good is Jimmy Johnson's team, Legacy Motorsports. The switch to Toyota, I think, has helped them. They were Eric Jones was up there some of the day. John Hunter's kind of a crash fest waiting to happen there, but Eric Jones hasn't been relevant in a couple of years, and he's been up front. So there's definitely some improvement for that team.
Yeah, it's going to take time, like it took Keselowski and Chris Buescher once Keselowski took over. But I think, John Hunter, don't really think he's ready for the Cup Series. I think it was one of those jumps that happened way too soon, and also I think it's the same situation like Harrison Burton too. Jumped in the Cup Series way too soon. Obviously, he doesn't have the best equipment. He's not on the best team, but you would expect a little bit more, especially all of the hype that he has, and both of them have. But let's talk about Christopher Bell playing out the strategy of the race and getting a redemption win at Phoenix after having that catastrophic brake failure last year in the Championship 4. Now he's locked himself back into the playoff. Can't say I'm surprised, and I think he's going to be in contention for the championship too.
Yeah, he's just a really good racer. He's right up there in the Larson level, where he can run anything and not afraid to have a car a little bit loose. And actually, he and probably Martin Truex Jr. are really the only two cars that could really pass anybody throughout the day. A lot of the Chevys, like Chase Elliott and Byron, were up front, and then some strategy pit stuff kind of put them to the back, and they couldn't pass anybody. So, but Truex they did strategy, and he had to pit late, came from one lap down and came back up to a top 10. He was hauling ass.
I think he got fourth or fifth or something. Yeah,
he was right there with Chastain, and there was like a three-way battle. It was
I was hoping there was a late race caution, because I think a restart at the end would have been insane, and who knows who would have won. Chastain would have ran the living hell out of that thing to try to get a win, and with everybody with fresher tires, it would have been very, very interesting. But wasn't that many cautions in the late stage. Stage 2 was filled with cautions, either people blowing tires or just blowing a corner. And just not knowing how to turn correctly. So there's a lot of those smacks, surprisingly, in the Cup Series more than the Xfinity side. But the Xfinity side, talking about blowing tires, a heartbreaker for Justin Allgaier. What was it, 2 to go? They blew the tire. 3 to go. He blew the tire, leading by like 5
to go.
Yeah,
3-second lead, just cruising. I mean, he just went in the corner, and then all I heard, was kind of looked away, and all I heard caution. They're like,
and I turned it off.
Are you kidding me?
I turned it off. I was like, oh no, he's got it. It's
and he
nothing
blew a left rear, which was kind of.
He might have, and
he must have cut it.
Yeah, what that speaks to, he probably ran over some sort of debris that was out there. It sucks. But Chandler Smith, right place, right time, gets a win, and that car has been fast throughout this beginning of the year. And it's kind of, I don't know why, to me it seems weird, but it's weird seeing a car number 81. I don't know why it seems weird to me. It's just like that usually is a smack number.
Yeah, so, it don't seem like a Joe Gibbs car.
But I get it because it's reverse of 18. I get it, but it's just it kind of throws me off. But hats off to Chandler Smith. I think he's going to have a really good year too, as consistent as he has been. Talk about Ryan Blaney being consistent. Chandler Smith's right up there with him. But I mean, that's really all I have from the NASCAR races at Phoenix. It's kind of what you would expect. It's a little preview what you could get for the championship and what cars need to do to improve. Obviously, Chevy's got some work to do to figure out, hey, what do we need to get done to be in contention for these races, because qualifying even didn't go well. And just the race, it progressively got worse. Like Larson was in the top 10, and then after that pit stop, he had to make some extra adjustments and go to the back. It just didn't recover.
He had that issue with the wheel, and I don't know if that was keeping his pit stops a lot slower than they normally would, because he would gain up to about 10th place, come in the pit and come back out 18th again. So there was something with the threads on the one nut, like it wasn't tightening up correctly. So hopefully they get that. But the Chevys just couldn't pass cars. I mean, it just,
which is crazy.
When they were in traffic, they couldn't pass.
And that's the crazy thing. They were the class of the season so far, and then couldn't get anything done. But I've been saying it. I think Toyotas are going to go on a tear this year. I think it started last week, and I think it's going to continue on throughout the duration of the year. It's hard to keep them away. It's also going to be hard to keep Ryan Blaney away. He's going to get a win too in Ford. But moving on from NASCAR, and real quick, I'm touching on the reason I'm wearing App State, guys, is they had a heartbreaking loss the other day. So we're trying to just get in my feels right now because they're going to miss the tournament where they were pretty much surefire to get into the tournament. Now they're probably going to be in the NIT. I don't even know why that's a thing. Hey, you're the best loser. But yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to App because that was a little bit of a heartbreaker. Moving on, App's a basketball school now, by the way. Moving on to IndyCar at St. Pete. Joseph Newgarden gets the win, and my pick got second. So I was this close. I was this close on IndyCar this year.
So far, like fifth, sixth, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really go out on huge limbs there, but what are your takeaways from IndyCar St. Pete, and what kind of are you looking forward to this year in that season?
I was actually really surprised that Joseph Newgarden won, by the way, for Team Penske. And if you don't know, that's a Chevy and IndyCar, and then they run Fords for NASCAR. Kind of a weird deal, but I was surprised that he got out to just a 3-second lead and just put an ass whipping onto everybody there. So that part of the race was he kind of stunk it up. But like I said before, the St. Pete's a neat track. They get a ton of people there. I'm just not a real big fan of the street courses. It's so hard to pass those guys without, those things. You touch wheels, somebody's going to get in the fence. And then Indy cars, they have rules for blocking and this and that. So it's kind of a weird deal. I would much rather see them on the ovals where they're really fast. But
we're biased. We're a little bit biased there. But the allure,
yeah, for sure.
The allure, the scenery, the pageantry, that what comes with street courses, that is a big part of it. And plus, I mean, you're part of the races on the runway, so that's part of a little bit of the spectacle too. They're not
right, it's right along the water. It's
yeah, they're not going to get
Florida's version of Monaco. They're right along the water with the boats and.
Well, and there you go. There's another one that's a snooze fest for the entire race, but that's all about the prestige, all about the scenery. I mean, it's the same type of deal. It's what brings in the money at the track, and they're going to stick with it. It was for me. It was kind of wasn't the easiest one to find to watch and everything. So I caught highlights and all that. It's a lot easier.
It came on at like 12:30, and the time change, everybody kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, it screwed me up too. I didn't even know what time it was.
My TV guide didn't update, so I was like, oh, it comes on at 1:30. So I flipped it on 1:30. I'm like, what the hell? There's 55 laps in already.
Yeah. Well, luckily we didn't miss a whole lot for the lead, but there was a lot of passing, like from the back to the front. Like Scott McLaughlin had a lot of passes throughout the race.
Yeah, last year.
And Alex Palou, he passed quite a few cars. Pato, he was just stayed in second. I mean, he was at the front two, but that was it. I mean, they stayed where they started. So, or Pato might start third, so he passed one car. So, yeah. Well, there's the first race of IndyCar, and the cool thing about IndyCar though is there's not 17,000 races. So, I mean, each race really actually matters for the championship.
Was there like 20 or something like that at the most?
And one race down means we're one race closer to Indy. So that's
right.
Heading to NHRA down in Gainesville. First time I think ever that they started the season at the Gator Nationals.
I believe so. It usually starts in Pomona, California.
Which that's where they're next week.
Yeah, but I don't know really why they switched that up. But
I don't know. But biggest takeaway is that the two Pro Stock Series motorcycle and the car gonna be the same. Looks like they got Gage Herrera put on ass whoopings, and Erica Andrews picking up where she left off, which is a little bit different from last year because she started off real slow in the beginning of last year, and then she got going. So I'd be a little bit scared if I were her competition. She's already got it going now. And J.R. Todd winning Funny Car, and Langdon winning Top Fuel.
Yeah, that's Team Coletta had a pretty good Top Fuel thing.
You were close there, I guess. You had Doug Coletta winning, so I mean, I guess
I was close. I had the right team, the right race team, just the wrong driver. But Tony Stewart making his Top Fuel debut. He qualified 9th. Actually, I think he only made it down the track one time for qualifying. And so first round he had to go against Justin Ashley. If you remember from last year, he was on an absolute tear, so not an easy draw. And he smoked him on the start. Tony had like a 26 reaction time, but it went about 30 feet, blew the tires off. So did Justin Ashley. Kind of had a pedal fest. Tony Stewart gets a few more runs like that, maybe he can catch it a little quicker and win that race. But all in all, he did good. The place was sold out. It was absolutely packed.
Well, it helps that Tony Stewart was racing,
and that's some of the reason why you got now you got Tony Stewart, you got John Force. That's everybody wants to come see those guys.
Yeah, definitely exciting. Definitely going to be great for the NHRA season, having Tony in it full time, and hopefully that gets a lot more exposure for them, especially on TV deals. And we'll see where it branches off from that. I think it's only going to go up and up.
NHRA TV deal. That has got to be the worst piece of crap going. So it comes on at like 10:30. They're like, all right, we're going to have live rounds. So it went from 10:30 to 1. I'm watching it. And they're like, all right, well, tune back in at 9 o'clock for the final rounds. Well, what the hell? I'm going to bed at 9 o'clock. So I tune in 9 o'clock. They go through the same shit they had on at 10:30.
And then it's another 30 minutes at least.
Just show me, and they have no like social media showing like final round highlights.
The social media is awful. They're
the absolute worst.
Yeah,
their webpage sucks. You click on the webpage, you got ads. I'm like, what the hell I got ads for?
Yeah, it's they definitely need some modernization there with everything. So NHRA, listen up! Like, come on, let's do something about it.
Just show the every final round on YouTube. Take about a 10-minute video the next morning, like they have for World of Outlaws and everything else. Get to see who won and the whole deal. Yeah. If you're gonna put that stuff on it from 9 to midnight, ain't nobody gonna watch that crap.
No, I mean generally not. Or you can find a streaming service just like World of Outlaws do with Dirt Vision, what the High Limit Series does with Flow. Figure something out with that because
show the whole live broadcast as it's going on.
I mean, half the time in Dirt Vision you're staring at a dude lean against the pole. So I mean, like that's half of the broadcast, and there's just nothing there.
The thing about drag racing, they have so many different divisions. There's always generally something running down.
Yeah, it'd be better than just staring at nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
I love watching them flow and stuff, but I mean, half the time we're just staring at a sign. Like, come on, all right now. Anyways, moving on to kind of transitioning into dirt racing. Anyways, our dirt racing segment this week was only World of Outlaws, because again, there's nothing else we're going to touch on because we don't know every dirt racing. Sorry, people. I know other people watch in different countries like Australia. We don't touch on that. You can do your own podcast and we'll watch you. But we're touching on the World of Outlaws. They rained out. Mother Nature did not work with them. Sorry. That's basically what Mother Nature said. Sorry, not sorry. We flooded your entire fucking track. So,
Yeah, it was big time rain. There was no
they canceled it early, and it was really good how they canceled it early. They canceled both, and they just said, "Damn, it's raining." So I mean, it was damn rain. That's a lot of rain. Unfortunately, didn't get to see that new track for the Outlaws. Hopefully, they'll get a chance to come back there and get some revenue for that track and that local community. So, the good thing about that is I can't be wrong about picks if Mother Nature gets involved. So. Now, they're staying in Texas. Hopefully, weather cooperates this week, but they're heading to the Texas Two-Step. Once again, hell yeah, at the Cotton Bowl Speedway.
Cotton Bowl Speedway in Page, Texas. And I don't know why they don't give track information anymore. I can't seem to find it, but just looking at it and looking at the times, looks to be like a 3/8 mile track. If you're familiar with Lincoln Speedway, the overhead shot looks very similar to Lincoln Speedway. I saw some of the YouTube. I think they raced there last in 22.
Yep, 2 years ago.
Yeah, so it looked like a good racing surface. I'm not sure exactly,
It looks similar to what the at the Cowtown Classic that we were previewing last week, a similar type of dirt.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a good show. One thing, just reading about this track, and here's where I think this track is screwing up. They charge to park, so it's like $5. I mean, it's $5 a park. Okay. You cannot bring any food or beverages in the track with you other than beer, and they will charge you $10 to bring a cooler full of beer in.
Well, that's dumb.
Like Eldora, you're not allowed to bring.
Like you can't bring
beer,
water. Like you
but
can
they
get
sell
drunk
it for like $2 a can. But you could bring, sandwiches, some sodas, waters.
But you can't bring like a damn water with.
No food or beverages.
You can
allowed.
go get hammered, but no, you're gonna
get dehydrated.
You drank all
you got to buy our water for $4 a bottle.
That's a little dumb.
That sounds like Jerry Jones must too.
It's I did find it. It's a 3/8 clay dirt track.
I figured it looks like because
I don't see any of the banking or anything.
Aaron Reitzel has got the current fast time at like a 13.2 or 13.3 or something like that. So it's
kind of similar to Lincoln. Yeah,
it's kind of in that. It might be a little bit bigger than Lincoln.
Yeah, a little. I mean, you get a fast down the straightaways.
It's a nice size. It actually has straightaways on it compared to some of these tracks just kind of round.
And it seems like it slows up significantly getting to the corner, so that could play a role, especially being able to hook up on the bottom, not very high bank track. So that's going to come and play, kind of like last week what we were talking about. That if you can hook on the bottom, have it work, that's probably going to be key to winning this race. And that's what it looked like a couple years ago when I was watching the.
It looked like it was pretty slick around the top. It seemed like the fast way was on the bottom. Now I have to change. I don't know how close this is to the other place and how much rain they may have gotten. So the track could be heavy. Maybe the top's faster this week. I mean, we'll see. Friday, we got 2 races, Friday and Saturday this week.
Yep. The Texas Two-Step, and this is the first time in 2 years they're back at it, but it seems to be sort of a tradition that Outlaws will go here every so often, and seems like it at least brings in a good crowd. Whether you're like,
we don't have Devil's Bowl anymore, so they're trying to keep something going on here with Texas.
Yeah. So let's give our picks, and I guess I'll start first. You usually start first, so let me start first then. And I'll start first on all the picks and then see if you actually copied off of me this week, because it seems like you copied.
You copied.
That's the only way I can actually not lose. For night one, so I'm watching those highlights and I watched from 3 years ago and 2 years ago, and the thing that was consistent was Shark Racing was very fast there. And the Shark Racing guy that's coming to mind now, since Jacob Allen's in the High Limit Series, I don't know if he's going to head down to Texas or not for this one, but I've got Logan Schuchart for night 1. Night 2, a guy that was also fast 2 years ago, last time they were here. He's pretty good at hooking up at the bottom. Been a little bit of a sleeper this year, but he's bound to bounce back and get some consistent finishes and wins. I got Carson Macedo for night 2.
Okay, well, we are different this week. So first week I picked kind of the low-hanging fruit there. I got David Gravel. I think, it's hard to go against him. And the second night, I was actually looking at Logan Schuchart. I was thinking about that. I don't know. I got a feeling for Sheldon Haudenschild. I think
you keep picking him.
Yeah, sooner or later I'm going to be right. One of these tracks is going to be a ballsy track, and there's nobody any ballsier than Sheldon. I can tell you that right now. So I'm looking for him to be dicing it up through lap traffic, and maybe even one of those races where you kind of steal one towards the end and just like catching lap cars just the right way.
All right, then. Well, all right, before we continue, got to give a shout out to a new partner of ours, Viator. If you want a website that organizes all of your travel needs into an easy search engine, go check out Viator.com. There's a link in the description. Check out the fabulous Las Vegas. Tour Italy. See the Colosseum. Anywhere in the world, Viator is where you need to go to get your trip set up. Check the link in the description. Get you a place booked. Have some fun with it. Back to the show. Right before we get into Bristol, which is your background, it's Bristol, baby.
That's right.
We are giving our power rankings for NASCAR this week, and then the trivia question, and of course, giving our fantasy lineups before we give our actual pick for the race.
Which mine suck, apparently, because
you beat me last.
Every week.
You beat me last week, and I took shots in the dark to.
I literally had the all-star lineup of NASCAR drivers, and it still didn't win.
Well, if you had a Chevy last week, you're pretty much screwed.
I had a lot of them.
Yeah. So, all right, for our power rankings this week, again, I'll start off, and you can just do everything first next week and see how much you copy off me this week. Mine's written down. You can hear it. You can hear it. I've got the paper, people. All right, so power rankings for this week, a little bit of a change, but the top's all going to stay the same. But moving into my top 5 position, the only Chevy finishing in the top 10 at Phoenix, I've got Ross Chastain. Number 4, sliding down a little bit in my power rankings after finishing just outside the top 10, just didn't have the speed that he needed at Phoenix like he usually does. I got Kyle Larson. Number 3, winning Phoenix. That's going to elevate you into the power rankings. I got Christopher Bell at number 3. Number 2, I've got Martin Truex Jr. after his just whale of a run at the end of Phoenix. That was absolutely insane. And he has been almost as consistent as my number 1 guy, who my number 1 guy is Ryan Blaney still. Until I am proven otherwise, Ryan Blaney's going to stay at the top right now because that guy is just getting top 5s like it's nothing right now.
Well, we have that one the same.
Yeah. Go ahead with yours.
So at number 5, and it's funny, I did not have this guy in my top 5 anytime. He's been fast, been dropping out, but he was put on an impressive show. I moved at number 5. I put in Martin Truex Jr. Number 4, he stays the same. He's been good all year. Only Chevy in the top 10. Ross Chastain. Number 3, I don't think I had him in my top 5 yet this year, and he's been fast. He was fast at the week before. I have Tyler Reddick, another Toyota. And number 2, last week's winner. He's been good. So I got Christopher Bell, and like you, Ryan Blaney. Until someone consistently beats him, he's going to be tough to drop out of the top spot. Yeah, even if he has a semi-bad race, I don't see how you drop him out.
Yeah, well, Bristol can be anybody's game because it's Bristol.
Thank God it's not dirt.
Yeah, as dirt track guys, as dirt track guys at heart, that was not a dirt race.
These cars aren't designed for it.
And Larson, you can tell he didn't say it specifically, but you can tell he's like, this ain't the real stuff. this is not it.
Yeah.
And he knows, but I mean, obviously he can't quite say when you're under NASCAR regulations.
When they get that big paycheck coming from them, you got to be nice.
Yeah, but yeah, I think a lot of people relieved that it's not dirt. We'll see how much of difference the crowd is going to be. It's still a Sunday afternoon, so hopefully they bring in a crowd. Bristol holds a lot of people. Well, Bristol holds a lot of people, so even if there are 50,000 people there, it's going to look empty because I think it holds 100,000.
100. Well, it used to hold 160. I don't know if they removed some stands.
I think they removed a lot because you see the bottom of it now. It's just a bunch of sponsor flags and things. But all right, before we get into it, kind of on the Bristol theme right now, I'm going to try to stay sort of the same theme going into these weeks, kind of keep it fun. But your question this week: what active driver has the most wins at Bristol, and how many?
Oh man. Probably Kyle Busch.
Yep, Kyle Busch does. Do you know how many?
4.
Oh no.
How many does he have?
Double that.
Oh, he has 8 wins at Bristol?
8 wins. I think he's number 3 or 4 all time.
Okay. I was going to say, I know like 9 or 10 wins is like right up there, so I didn't think he was anywhere near that close.
Yeah, I think he's just one behind Dale. And Darrell Waltrip, I think, has got the most at 12, and Richard Petty's got 11, I believe. So see if Kyle Busch can get it done this week. But going into NASCAR Fantasy, funny enough, I don't have Kyle Busch in here. But you know what's really dumb, though? I was like, no, NASCAR Fantasy's wrong. We're at COTA this week. No, we're not. We're not at COTA. I was dumb. I was like, hey, we're not.
You were dumb. Your mom had Christopher Bell in her garage, and she had Joey Logano in her lineup. I'm like, hey, you might want to swap them.
I don't think it would have made a difference. Like,
dumb man. Well, it would have helped. I might have won.
Maybe. I would not. I forgot to put my my garage in for Josh Berry. I had Christopher Bell in there too, and I forgot about fantasy. Also had to chase around little kids all day Sunday. So, all right. So for the starters this week, I have most consistent guy. I'm going with Ryan Blaney. Prove me otherwise. I got to use him sparingly though. So I mean, I've only used him once. So everybody here I've only used once, and actually one I have not used at all. Next guy, I've got Ross Chastain. He's always solid at Bristol, and you're not going to find anybody races more aggressive to get a win at Bristol.
That's for sure.
Another really consistent winner at Bristol, and he's moving up the all-time rankings there, Denny Hamlin. Next one, car owned by Denny Hamlin. I've got Tyler Reddick, and you can see a theme here. Denny Hamlin's teammate, last week's winner, I've got Christopher Bell. He's always very good at Bristol as well, especially when it was on dirt, but either way, he's good at either one. And my garage, I've got Chris Buescher.
Okay.
And so for the featured lineups this week, they have Chris Buescher versus Chase Elliott. And I actually don't have it doesn't show the, they don't have the
odds on this one.
They don't have the lines out yet. They'll probably be out later this week. But hey, North Carolina Sports Betting just went live. So yeah, but I don't think they even have that on there. But it's Chris Buescher versus Chase Elliott. I don't know, something about it. I don't know why. Just got a weird feeling. I'm putting Chase Elliott in there. He's always pretty decent at Bristol. Hasn't found quite a lot of speed this year, but I don't know. Got a feeling. I'm putting him over Chris Buescher. The next one's Michael McDowell versus Ryan Preece. I didn't really have to think too hard about that one. I'm going to go with Michael McDowell. I know Ryan Preece pretty good short track racer, but McDowell's got the speed this year and the confidence. I'm picking him. This is a little bit tougher, Keselowski versus Christopher Bell. Keselowski's pretty decent at Bristol with all that experience, but Christopher Bell, he won last week. Momentum's going to go a long way. You're going to take a lot more chances now that you know you're locked into the playoffs, and Bristol's one of those places you can take chances. So I got Christopher Bell over Brad. And this next one, it was kind of 50-50. I didn't really know. It was Carson Hocevar versus Josh Berry. Josh Berry, I had faith in him last week, so I'm not doing it this week. I've got Carson Hocevar. All right, what's your fantasy?
We are different on our fantasy lineup. So I put 5 new starters in this week. So we got to use them up, and not one Chevy. So I have my top 5. I have Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, Chris Buescher, and Ryan Preece. And then for my garage, Old Faithful, I'm gonna leave him in there in case I need him. Ryan Blaney. So in our featured matchups between Chris Buescher and Chase Elliott, I did pick Chris Buescher on that one. I think Chase is just struggling right now. And then Michael McDowell and Ryan Preece, that was a tough one. I put Preece in my top 5, so I'm not picking him for that one. Christopher Bell and Brad Keselowski, I picked Christopher Bell. And then Carson Hocevar and Josh Berry. Only reason I picked Josh Berry is he does have more starts in the Cup, even though Carson Hocevar has actually run very well. So sooner or later, Josh Berry's bound to get a decent finish. So let's go for it this week. I gotta mix it up a little bit, try to make up some ground.
Well, I dropped from 26,000th ranking in the world to 57,000th. So
hey, I'm at 91,000. So shut up.
Yeah, last week was a struggle, big time. But for anybody that has sports betting right now, they say a good bet is Chris Buescher. Obviously, he's pretty. He won. No, he didn't. He's finished top 10 3 of the last 4 races at Bristol.
Yeah, he's good at Bristol.
Larson, I'm going to use him probably another 9 times, so I don't want to use him up yet.
Yeah, I'm saving him for mile and a half.
That and probably Bristol night race. He's pretty good at that one. They said avoid Truex.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
No, it says he's only had 2 top 10s at Bristol in the last 20 races and only 4 top 10s and 33 career starts at Bristol. So it could be almost a mental game at that point. Avoid Joey Logano, which I don't really agree with that one.
He's been like he can qualify, but he hasn't been fast racing.
They did say
Ryan Blaney's definitely been way faster.
They did say sleeper is Eric Jones though, so
yeah, he's kind of sort of rejuvenated his career a little bit once they switched to Toyota.
All right then. Well, let's get into Bristol. So we touched on that it's not the dirt race anymore. How different is Bristol going to be when the sun's beating on that concrete as opposed to the nighttime races?
It changes some. It doesn't change as much as an asphalt track because you got the semi-white concrete. The biggest issue with Bristol in the spring is probably going to be weather. Up the mountains of Tennessee, could get some rain. So if we get some rain and washes all the rubber off the track, that's going to change things a little bit. I don't see the sun being out. I mean, the track's probably going to be a little bit looser. Didn't really see a weather forecast how cool it's going to be out there, but so they haven't run this car at the day races at Bristol yet. So could that throw a little bit of a curve? I don't know what downforce package they're using. The same downforce package they did last week at Phoenix. I mean, it's a short track, but it races different with all the high banks. So that's going to be some kind of interesting thing. I haven't seen any of the specs on that one. So I think if they keep the same package, I think you're going to see Toyotas be very, very fast this week.
I just pulled up the weather. It looks like it's going to be 61 and partially cloudy.
Yeah, the track temperature is probably going to be pretty cool. It's probably going to be very fast.
Should have a lot of grip too. It's going to be should be rubbered up pretty well from the truck race the day before too.
Yeah, and then let's it rains overnight, and then see what happens. Now then, here's the other interesting thing. So if it's going to be cool, what tire does Goodyear bring? They've been having some slight tire issues this year. Is there going to be any kind of tire wear? And some of that's brought on from the crews with how the air pressure they run, the camber and things they have in that. So that's going to be another wrinkle in the whole situation.
All right. Well, heading into looks like I think it's Saturday. During the day, the trucks are racing.
It's actually at night, Saturday night.
Oh, it is a night race?
Yeah.
So you would think they would just try to keep it consistent with what the Cup Series is doing. Honestly, it should be 2 night Bristol races, honestly, but it's okay. But the trucks, there's last time we saw the Truck Series, Rajah Caruth got his first career win on it was a 1.5 mile track, so a little bit different for Bristol. I think we're going to see a little bit more cautions in this one, like you kind of saw at Daytona. let's get on with our picks. Who are you? Oh, well, I'm going first. I'm
Yeah,
used
you
to
go
going.
first.
Yeah. So this one, I can almost guarantee you don't have this pick. Got a guy's kind of been sleeper, but he is fast and he's up and coming, kind of like how Raja Cruz up and coming. And Raja got his first win, and I like this guy to get his first win. I got Nick Sanchez. He might have already won.
You think I wouldn't have that pick, huh?
You had him?
I changed it.
Oh,
I did have him.
damn.
But I think this guy's second in points now. He's been real consistent. Multiple race winner. I got Ty Majeski.
Yeah, he's pretty good at any track really. He's good at Bristol.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be.
Yeah, I was looking at Sanchez to start with.
Well, for the truck series especially, you're going to have to qualify well. If you're back in the back, that's going to be definitely an area where you're probably going to get caught up in a wreck.
I would think so.
The Cup Series will do a little bit better. I say that, and they wrecked a ton at Phoenix, but they do a bit. I would think a better job than avoiding. Everybody's too aggressive in the Truck Series too early. They forget that it's, fairly long race.
Yeah, it's 300 laps for the truck race, I think.
That's a lot. That's a lot of miles for them.
Yeah.
Or a lot of laps.
It's only 150 miles, but it's still
a lot of laps. All right.
A lot of corners.
Sunday, my Cup Series pick. One guy that he's fast and he's gonna go for it at Bristol. I've got the Watermelon Man, Ross Chastain. He's in my fantasy lineup, so I've got him for this one.
Okay, and you just said how, don't pick this guy. He hasn't been very good, but man, he was so fast last week. He's going to be hungry for a win. I got Martin Truex Jr.
I changed it. I was gonna have Truex, and I'm like, well, let's just throw it.
In Mom's pick, she really went out on a limb here, and she's picking Ryan Blaney.
All right. Well, it's crazy. None of us even thought about picking Kyle Busch or any. I don't even know what Mom's fantasy lineup is, and I don't
think she said it yet.
But neither of us have Kyle Busch. Now we said that she's going to put freaking Kyle Busch.
Yeah, he's been, he's not happy with his crew. He's not happy driving that car right now.
Which that's scary right now because something's going to change and he's going to go on a tear later.
Oh yeah, I got something to expect. No idea. Right now, I just
probably not.
I don't have a whole lot of confidence in Kyle Busch.
But number 5, I'm going with the game that pretty much changed a lot of racing games for the good. And a lot of different dynamics that were introduced into this racing game. I've got Gran Turismo at number 5, the original Gran Turismo. Number 4, I love this game growing up, and I'll play it right now. It's probably the second best NASCAR console game, I would say. I got NASCAR Thunder 2004. Number 3, this one probably not on your list. I don't know. We played this a lot though, so it very well could be. This is one where you actually had legitimate setups, and what real life had and what you had on the setup. This is, my opinion, still the best console racing game. World of Outlaws 2002.
Nope, I don't have that one.
Yeah, that one, I love that one. So that's probably just nostalgic for me. This one is our all-time favorite console game, and I know it's on your list. NASCAR Dirt to Daytona. And for the love of God, whoever needs to make this, make it again. Just, same thing. Same exact thing. Don't change. Just like we're getting with the college football game. Don't change anything. Just update the graphics and let me play that, please.
Yeah, make it PS5 graphics and let it go.
Yeah, don't touch anything. Let the setups and how you do your career. It's still fun to play. It's pixelated as hell, and it's still fun to play. All right, okay, off that one. Number 1. People are gonna get mad thinking I'm saying this is a game. It's a simulation. That's what is specifically said. But iRacing. You don't get any more realistic than that. Drivers use it to freaking prepare themselves for the races throughout all of motorsports, not just NASCAR, but all the motorsports, IndyCar, Formula One, all that stuff. So yeah, I'd be shocked if your number 1's different, but yeah.
Our number 1 and 2 are the same.
Okay, that's what I think. All right, what's 5, 4, and 3?
All right, so here we go. Number 5, 1989, Commodore 64 computer. One of my absolute favorite games on that. I still will play it today. Street Rod.
I figured you'd
If you're not familiar with this one, you have to buy a car, you have to fix it up, you drag race, you road race. It kind of takes place like it's supposed to be like in the 50s, and your goal was to beat the king, who has a souped up Corvette. So if you don't, you could change things in your engine. You have to set the timing. It was really cool. Street Rod 2 sucks ass. But so at number 4, this is the start of what has become iRacing now. So this was in 1993. It was called, I don't limb on their name, IndyCar Racing, from the company called Papyrus. Papyrus is the ones who invented like the whole racing simulation thing, and they are the ones that moved into iRacing now. But that was the first time on a PC where like you looked like you were in the IndyCar. You're rolling, you could see the white letter tires moving around on the car. It was just, that was an unreal game. I had it was an airplane yoke thing with buttons to run this game. Then they had a NASCAR game and everything, but the IndyCar racing was the start of all that. Number 3, this is actually an arcade game. This was one of my favorite ones, growing up. I got pole position from Atari, and funny story, we went skiing one time, me and Lee Stauffer, he's famous sprint car crew chief. So we went skiing. So we took a break, went into the lodge, and they had pole position. I don't think we made it out to the slopes the rest of the night. We were racing that damn game the whole night. So, and number 2, like you have on the PlayStation 2, Dirt to Daytona. We had this at the house up at Dad's shop, and now Dad didn't play this, but he came in and we were playing it, and he kept saying, "Don't buy an engine. Don't buy an engine. Buy aero. Buy suspension. Get the tires, then put the engine in." They were kept putting engines in, and you couldn't drive the thing with the shit. So he came up. He was like, "Do the suspension." Then when you had all that, you start putting the engine in, then you could really kick their ass in the dirt. In my opinion, I like the dirt part of it. Once you start getting to the other stuff, it wasn't as fun. And number 1, like you said, it's a simulator, but it is absolutely just unreal. The realism on that thing and how the tracks look. iRacing.
You imagine what Pop would see with iRacing if we walked in, see him.
Oh yeah. He would. The amount of stuff that you could change on that. He would have a heyday of that. He'd be like, jack this weight and change this and do that.
I'd probably finally be decent at sprint car racing on it, because that one kicks my ass every damn time. I can win races on ovals on in the NASCAR series, but some bitch I just can't figure out the dirt racing part of it. The street stocks I'm decent at, but it's the sprint car I just can't figure out. Yeah, that should be that could be a whole dang series that you have is Davy Brown adjusts iRacers.
There was one game. It was some kind of a drag racing game, but you could actually build your own engines, and you could put like the cam information in and this and that, and it would kind of give you like the horsepower stuff. So yeah, Dad was down the one time we were playing with it, and he's like putting cam numbers in, and I think he had actually ended up buying one of the cams that we were playing with. He had Crane make up a cam, and
that's one thing actually that I would love to see in iRacing somehow, if they could add in drag racing. That would be
wild.
I don't know how they would do it.
I don't know how. I mean, why would it even be super difficult?
No, but I think it'd be cool, especially if you have one of the steering consoles that has like the force, like the G-force, like whatever it is, where it's you feel like you're racing.
Especially like you're doing sportsman classes where those guys launch the front wheels off that thing, where you release your trans brake and you take off, and all of a sudden all you're seeing sky for about the first 30 feet. I
mean, shit. They added Millbridge, which is a little small dirt track here in North Carolina, so why not? But maybe. I think that does it for that. No top 5 next week because there is an excessive amount of racing to go over next week. But it gives me an extra week to think about another top 5, what we want to do.
Yeah, I like this one. I was excited to give the info.
Yeah. So I'll definitely throw some links for videos if people aren't aware of some of those places too. So make sure you, if you guys listen to this, obviously you listen to any podcasting platform, follow for all those. Make sure you're following all social media platforms, and you check out the YouTube channel for all of the media that I do, whether it's memes or stuff. So I didn't actually, oh damn, I missed Meme Monday yesterday.
Shame on you.
Damn, I'm gonna have to post one tonight. So sorry.
We're gonna blame the time change.
That's fucked me up. But and it just shouldn't. It's literally an hour. I don't know why it should mess you up. It's not like it's not like I came from Australia yesterday or something. It's literally just an hour. But all right, make sure you subscribe on YouTube as well, guys. We will see you next week for another packed weekend of racing. See you, Dad.
A lot to talk about next week. Bye, everybody.